Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mindset Monday. This is the place where you get a little Chris Lab in action. If you're not familiar with Chris yet, welcome. Chris is a all-round entrepreneur, but I saw something this weekend that not everybody gets to see. Chris is up on stage talking to everybody, and he shared his personal story about basically going from behind a dumpster at age 14 to selling a huge company. And there were some tears that I saw not only from him but from the audience members. And so sometimes I think of Chris as like this big tough guy that runs through walls and can, tackle a speeding train, but he's also got a soft side. And today, I don't know which one you're going to get, but this is the chance for you to get inside the head of a super successful guy. So make sure you take notes. And at the very end, if Chris has time, we get questions. So have your questions ready to go. Bruce, let's bring him on up.
And now, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Presenting the master of the real estate deal and entrepreneur champion of the world, Chris, the negotiator Levin.
I love it. Don't know why. Still love it. So I'm gonna talk a little bit off topic today, in the sense that I'm usually very positive and I look for the positive in everything. And I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you a little different today. And what I mean by that is I have never been betrayed by an enemy. So I walk around with this motto in mind. People stink. And if you walk around with that motto, you will never be disappointed. But every now and then, you will be pleasantly surprised. I know that sounds negative, but it's not. It's how you win in business and in life, right? If you have no expectations of people, you're never disappointed. Let me explain this with a question. Have you ever had a sky high expectations of somebody, like you just knew they were going to deliver? They were going to be that one that came in at the last minute and made everything okay. And then at the end, you're really, really, really bitterly disappointed when they didn't come close to meeting your expectations. Everybody has, so of course you have. See, when you stop expecting people to show up the way you would, you stop being disappointed. You stop being blindsided, and you start seeing people for who they truly are. Because, like I said, I have never ever once been betrayed by an enemy, because I have no expectations of enemies to do good by me. I've always been betrayed by people I trusted, the ones I let close, the ones I gave the benefit of the doubt when the signs were already there. Now, a while back, I had a business partner, and in a business that I basically had built. He was a silent partner in it, and it was the largest technology staffing firm in the state of Florida. And what was going on is we had long cycles where we put people in staffing, and we staffed people, and then it would be a while before we got paid. There were times, my payroll was $500,000 a week, and so we needed large lines of credit, and we had them with Bank of America and Southern Bank, and we had a line of credit that was expiring, because they do expire, and it was at $3.1 million. I had $2.8 million in cash in the bank, and I was waiting for some some payables to hit to make up the $3.1 million, pay off the line of credit, move on, probably apply for another one, and basically move on and continue to grow our business. And about 10 days before that payoff was made, I logged into my Bank of America account and found out I had like $100 in the account. Um, Went flying down to the bank, and my business partner at the time had taken all the money and wired it out of the country. Wired it to someplace in the Dominican Republic, and then from there on and on and on, and basically disappeared with about just shy of $2.9 million. Man, we were like brothers. Like, I thought we were. I would never treat my brother that way. Anyways, lesson learned. And the story goes on. It was so funny. Mary Brown Butler was my vice president at the time, and I called her up and I said, she called me up and said, "Hey, Chris, you know loan's coming due next week." And I said, "Yeah, we got a problem." I said, "What's the problem?" I said, I don't have the money to pay it." And she said, "No, no, Chris, no worries. What we'll do is we'll just convert the note to a 7-year note. You make payments, everything will be fine." She said, "You and your partner," and I'm not going to say his name, "just come on down and sign the paperwork, and we'll get it converted." She said, "It's not an issue. You're a great customer. You've been a great customer for years." And I said, "Yeah, that's the problem. Blah, blah, blah is missing. He's gone." And she goes, "Oh, we have a problem." So anyways, I went on to mortgage stuff and borrow and beg and steal to get that note taken care of. And later went on to sell that business for a significant amount of money to Robert Half International. So shame on him. So see, if you have no expectations of people, you'll never be disappointed. But when you find somebody that's truly worth it, you like latch onto them. So that's why this is a powerful, powerful mindset. Because every now and then when that one person does show up and it's the real thing, you do everything to cultivate those relationships and build each other up and build on each other to build something great. So the right people, those meant to be in your circle, they will stick. They'll stay. Not with the words they say, but how they show up in the actions and the consistency time and time again. And they'll earn their place in your circle. Most people get burned because they trust too quickly. They let someone in before they watch how that person moves under pressure, under situations where character is revealed. Are they doing the right thing when nobody else is looking? The real ones reveal themselves over time, not through words, but through consistency and through action. They walk the walk, not just talk the talk. So keep your circles small and your standards high. Like, don't just let people in. Scripture supports this. Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Be careful who you let close. So you don't need more people in your life. You just need the right people. Stop expecting everyone to operate with your values. Always stand up for your values. And start watching and looking around at the people who do. So evaluate your circle today. Have the people in your circle earn that proximity through consistency? Or do they just end up there somehow? Evaluate your relationships. Are these people you can trust? And at what level can you trust them? Listen, I got a lot of people that I'm associated with. I have very few friends, and then I have even fewer people that are close to my heart and in my inner circle. So trust what you see, not what you hear. Pay attention to the small things. Like when you're in a restaurant, how does somebody treat a waiter? How does somebody treat the staff? The signs are always there if you look for them. So don't be a fool. Be wise with the blessings that God's given you, with the talents you've received, and multiply them. Don't make poor decisions and give them away freely. Thank you all for listening.
Beautiful, Chris. You got folks already commenting in here.
Uh-oh.
Your story's incredible. But let's do this. If you have a minute, Chris, could we take a couple questions?
Sure.
All right, guys, if you got a question, go ahead, put it in the chat now, and we'll do our best. I won't read your name out loud. I'll keep it anonymous. I'll just read your question. That way there, Chris can kind of dive in and answer it for you. Okay. Chris, how do you know who you can actually trust?
Right. So I grew up in the streets, and I've got a good sense on people most of the time. I'm tricked every now and then. I really am. Don't get me wrong. But most of the time, I have a pretty good idea. And I pray about things. And God gives me guidance with relationships with people and how far I should take things. So at the end of the day, I turn it over to God, what belongs in God's hands. And that's relationships and new people and new business transactions. So I get a pretty good guidance there.
Chris, next one. How did you recover after such an enormous betrayal?
Emotionally or financially? Emotionally, you get changed, right? Because when you let somebody in that close, you get hurt, and then you scar, and so you're a different person after that. And I follow the teachings of Jesus, and he tells us to love everyone. I can love everybody, but I don't have to trust everybody. And And so I just move forward. The financial stuff, God seems to just take care of that. If I do the next right thing, do right by the people, pay my bills, whether or not I have the money to pay them, figure it out. I made a commitment, I signed a contract, even though my partner didn't live up to his end, I did. So by just doing the next right thing, God seems to reward my actions with very good outcomes.
You got a comment that says, take your wife with you. Your wife can verify.
Yes. Listen, guys, oh my gosh, if you've got a wife and you're not listening to her, you are a fool. Like women have got that sense, the spider senses. There are people that that are around me, either through business or through relationships, that my wife says, I never want that person in my house. And I don't force it. I don't think twice. Nate's got a story about that too, but we won't go into that.
Chris, what advice do you have for building resilience against a failure like this?
Listen. All right, so when this happens, I feel like a fool, right? When that happened, when all that money was gone, I feel like a fool. But more importantly, I feel like that that this is not the outcome that was supposed to happen, and that I made a mistake as a good steward. And so I felt like that I had to make it right. And so the resilience comes from, in the end, honoring my word to God and making it right to the best of my abilities to continue to further his work on the earth as a vessel, right? And by fulfilling that, getting the money back, paying the debt that I owed, you know, it just builds character and builds strength. And the resilience just comes by doing the right thing over and over and over again.
Chris, one more for you, and then we'll let you close however you want. We'll save any more for next week. Is there any book or anything else that we could sharpen our acumen on being able to read people?
Yeah, I love Chris Voss for negotiations and how he deals with people, but he gives a great insight in his book. Never meet in the middle? I always forget that up.
Split the difference.
Never Split the Difference. I don't know why I can't get that in my head. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I love that book because the guy really goes into the psyche of people and they react and all that stuff. And if you he's got a master class as well, and he really gets into the insight of dealing with people, getting a hold of their character and have them really reveal their true selves. But the most important skill that I have when it comes to all this is listening and learning to listen. So reading books about how to listen to people and hear what they're not saying is absolutely critical. And listen, I want to say this. I have been blessed through some very difficult times in my life with an amazing life. I mean, the things that I have inside are just second to none. It was all the things I've always and ever wished for. Yeah. And I got that through following God's will for my life on a daily basis. And I know that God keeps giving and keeps giving and keeps giving. And I know also that God doesn't love me any more than he loves you, and he doesn't love you any more than he loves me. So he has blessed me tremendously with great relationships, amazing people, an amazing wife, great friends around me, an amazing business, and he's allowed me a lot of indulgences. And if he'll do it for me, I'll know he'll do it for you. Just seek godly counsel in everything you do, and you will reap the rewards. God bless y'all. Thank you all for being here.